Let's go.
The top 10 NFL teams according to Colin. Number 10.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers 4-2. Their offense leads the NFL with 4 games over 30 points, and Baker Mayfield, dating to last year, is humming. A big part of it is he and Chris Godwin are money together, and also the run game here is second in the league. Rashad White, Bucky Irvin, Sean Tucker. Giving Baker Mayfield a run game like any quarterback is a game changer. Baker Mayfield right now, you're going to get some Pro Bowl votes. He's humming. The Bucs are. They're 10.
Number 9.
Atlanta just beat them barely, so I'll give Atlanta, who's 2-0 on the road. I don't think they're quite as inconsistent defensively, or I should say overall as an effort team. I like Kirk Cousins, been around the league, consistent personality, 2-0 on the road. Their issue is they don't get to the quarterback. They brought Matthew Judon in from New England. He hasn't done anything. So they only have 5 sacks this year. So I think Atlanta and Tampa are the 2 best teams. I think Kirk Cousins is such a steady, unemotional ship. I'd give them a slight edge, but those 2 teams are going to battle to the end. Carolina Saints are toast. Both those teams have a million issues.
Number 8.
Buffalo, they're 4-0 against teams under 500. They're a little like the Dallas Cowboys. Can't beat the good teams, beat the bad teams. And they are 21-5 against the AFC East over the last 5 seasons. So it's a little Dallas Cowboys. They can be fool's gold. I will say the offense is tied for the second fewest giveaways in the NFL this year, and James Cook was out last night. I think they have added a dimension to their offense. I love their tight end Kincaid, Dawson Knox, but we got to be honest, they don't beat the good team. Kansas City beats the good teams. Baltimore can beat the good teams. Buffalo's not beating the good teams. I put them at 8.
Number 7.
I may have the Packers too low again this week. Lead the NFL in turnover differential. Jordan Love's missed 2 games. He's second in the league in touchdown passes. I love this kid. Had my questions early. He's humming. Dobbs, Christian Watson. They got 3 tight ends I like. 5 different players have multiple touchdown receptions. Nobody else in the NFL saying that. And they lead the NFL with 54 what they call big plays. So again this week, I have them probably a spot too low, but they're a young team and can be a tad inconsistent half to half, but I have them at 7.
Number 6.
If Joe Mixon plays, I think the Texans are a handful. Their only loss came on the road to the Vikings. They had a stinker. Everybody gets a stinker. Everybody but the Chiefs gives you a stinker. Joe Mixon changes C.J. Stroud. Nico Collins out. They got to get him back. The defense with DeMeco Ryans is excellent. I think this team could get to the AFC Championship. I don't think they're quite mature enough with big game experience to beat a Kansas City. But if I was Kansas City, I wouldn't want to play them. I think this team's really good. Texans 6.
Number 5.
Niners. Now, they're not good in the red zone. My belief is Christian McCaffrey will solve that. But they've led by 10-plus points in 5 of 6 games. They are physical. They're multi-dimensional. Because of Shanahan, they all seemingly always have a lead. Number 2 passing offense, number 3 rushing offense, and that's without Christian McCaffrey. Also, Brock Purdy has been tremendous on third down this year. You know how much that means to me. I think the great quarterbacks are third down quarterbacks. Mahomes the best in a long time. I have San Francisco at 5.
Number 4.
Ravens at 4. Number 1 total offense. Number 1 rushing offense. Lamar Jackson is now 22-1 against the NFC. I worry about their pass defense. And this is going to be the big issue with this team, is they're going to play down. Even the games they play well and lead, I worry about them late in games. But you know I love me Lamar Jackson in Baltimore. I have him at 4.
Number 3.
But I like that O-line with Detroit that I think can control the clock and keep their secondary, which is a liability, off the field. Now, they got to figure out what to do with Hutchinson's loss. Max Crosby, the Raiders just gave out Devontae Adams. Do you give away Max Crosby and you get more picks? They have an excellent running back duo, best offensive line, but the schedule gets tough now. 3 of the next 4 games, Vikings, Packers, Texans. There's going to be a couple L's here potentially for the Lions.
Number 2.
Vikings, off a bye. They're going to beat Detroit. That's my guess. One of my picks of the week. Off a bye, this team's going to beat Detroit. Detroit's off a huge win, feeling themselves. Only undefeated team in the NFC. Now, again, like Baltimore, my concern is great against the run, not great against the pass. I could see this team going to the playoffs and dominating somebody and leaking oil well on the back end, and that's why I have them at 2.
Number 1.
Kansas City, 11 straight wins. They're, I still never know what I'm getting at wide receiver. Is Rashee Rice coming back? Juju Smith-Schuster can't separate. Xavier Worthy's kind of a gadget guy. Travis Kelce can disappear. But best defensive lineman, best defensive coordinator, best coach, best quarterback. O-line's good enough. I think, I'm just going to take him, put him here. I guess they're more vulnerable. I guess. But they get number 1.
Okay. Let's get this. I don't think it's going to happen. That's going to be annoying. Oh, wow. They really zoomed in on this one. I can't get it where you can see all 10 teams. That's absurd. Is there, any part of this? Doesn't make any sense. Why did they do it this way? Usually they zoom out so you can actually see all 10 teams at once. So, all right. This is going to be pretty annoying. I apologize. It's out of my control. The truth is, well, actually, what I can do is here. I'm going to jump to Colin's YouTube page here. Let me do this way. Because I know he did an interview with Nick Wright, and you can see his 10. There you go. Okay. We'll do it this way. A little not normal, but okay. Let's talk about this. Colin's top 10 teams. Okay. This is really interesting because first off, the Commanders were, I think, top 5, top 4, top 3. I forget exactly what it was. And now they're just off, right? They're just completely off. And even though they played actually really well, and they weren't even full strength against the Ravens, which are obviously a top team. And now the Bucs weren't on it, but the Bucs beat the Saints with a backup quarterback, and now the Saints and now the Bucs, get on it because they beat the Saints with a backup quarterback. That's a head scratcher to me. If the Bucs and the Commanders were to play again, I think the Commanders win that game. The Bucs beat the Commanders. Yeah, it was Jaden Daniels' rookie first game he's ever played in his career. They're obviously not the same. Just like how Caleb Williams and the Chicago Bears, does anyone think that game would be that close again versus the Titans? Absolutely not. So I'm still putting the Commanders in there for sure. In terms of what to do with some of these other teams, the Bills, the Packers, the Texans, the 49ers, the Ravens, and the Vikings, it's so interesting to me, right? One, it's hard to evaluate the 49ers right now because I do believe Christian McCaffrey will come back. And so where they stand right now, I think it's totally fair. I don't know if I'm taking the 49ers over the Packers and the Texans and the Bills in this exact moment, but I'm not betting against them either, right? These are the teams that I all put together. And again, that's why when you add Christian McCaffrey, that could be that kind of extra edge. Same thing kind of with a team like the Lions. I believe in their punch that they have right now, right? It's like that game against Dallas will truly be unforgettable. But I'm still struggling with the games versus the Bucs and the Rams and even the Cardinals for that matter. And so it's I want to see the Lions play a few more games. I'm really fascinated to see what the Lions look like against the Vikings. So, and again, the Vikings are 5-0, and so I think they've been playing better ball than the Chiefs, but the Chiefs, obviously, like I keep saying every week, they do have the coaching, they have that stability, so that's why it's always consistently hard to ever really count out the Chiefs, but I don't see the Chiefs on this next level, right? If you watch the Lions play the Cowboys and watch the Chiefs play the Chargers or even the Saints if you want to, what's the scarier team? The Lions. When you see the Ravens play the Cowboys or the Bills, what's the scarier team? The Ravens or the Chiefs? The Ravens, right? The Packers are looking ruthless offensively. The Texans, CJ Stroud is an MVP candidate right now. Josh Allen should be an MVP candidate right now, considering what he's been doing with the Bills. And I think now that they added Amari Cooper, the Bills will also be definitely better. I don't put the Bills and the Falcons and the Bucs like all kind of like within that same tier. So it's not like this hierarchy is the worst thing, because it's definitely really not. Like, you really can't complain with a lot of these things. A lot of them is just, it is just hard to evaluate. But it is interesting that he's got the 49ers, who are 3-3, which I don't live and die by the record, but he's got them 5, and he's got them ahead of the Texans and the Packers. I think it's interesting. I think the 49ers, who we've seen them play, how we've seen them play, is who the 49ers are right now, right? And I think you're really banking on Christian McCaffrey come back to really get you over that hump, because I think we've seen great quarterback play from Brock Purdy and company, and they've got a lot out of that backup run game, so to speak. But some of the issues that have been a problem with the 49ers, I'm not seeing them evolve out of that just yet. I do think that that's dependent on Christian McCaffrey and maybe Shanahan kind of starting to try to take even his own next level in coaching. As great of a coach as he is, there's probably still another level for him to get to. Can he do that? But that's why I think the Packers and the Texans are the most interesting right now as well, because I think they're still coming into their own. Jordan Love is starting to get more comfortable now, shake off the rust that he has. The Texans, they are a younger team, and so CJ Stroud is getting in rhythm, and they do got to clean up some stuff, but they are also playing into, their season right now. So what it really at the end of the day is, it feels like that the Packers and the Texans are going to get better throughout the season. I'm seeing the 49ers be more consistent until they get Christian McCaffrey. And the Ravens, I think it'll be interesting to see if the Ravens can improve as the season unfolds, or they might also just be consistently who they are, and then it just comes down to what do they do in the playoffs. The Lions, I think the Lions have to prove their level of consistency, because again, like what I said about some of those earlier games. And again, we can chalk that up to them just being earlier games, and it's just earlier in the season. That's how it goes, which is why I want to see them continue to play. And I want to see what that defense looks like now without Aiden, unfortunately. And then again, the Vikings have been great. It's hard because the Vikings and the Chiefs, haven't played in seemingly a month, right? You get a week off, and it literally feels like, I don't even remember who those teams are anymore. So the Vikings, I think, their last game wasn't their best game against the New York Jets in London, right? That wasn't Sam Darnold's best outing by no means, but the Vikings have obviously been rolling, have obviously been a top team in the NFL, and it's just really the name of the game for the Vikings now is just for them to continue to stack wins and prove, no, this isn't a fluke, which to be clear, I don't think it is. This isn't a fluke. Like, we are consistently great. Our defense is great. Our offense is great. We are great. Sam Darnold is not going to turn into a pumpkin, and let's go. And I think that is totally, that is just something that they'll have to continue to prove. And honestly, to some degree, the same thing with the Chiefs, where it's like, yeah, they're winning, but like, they're not playing great. They're absolutely obviously winning, and they're finding ways to win, but by no means are you watching those games and saying they're playing great. So in a lot of ways, they have to prove that they can keep winning that way, or that they can start playing great, because just like how I said, I think that the Commanders played the Bucs, that they would win now. For the Commanders, it's like, if the Ravens played the Chiefs, I would pick the Ravens, right? If the Lions were playing the Chiefs, I'd pick the Lions. Like, so it's just those teams are playing fundamentally better football right now. So but again, it is the Chiefs, which is, well, as long as they got Mahomes and Andy and Spags, they will always have that, but it's the Chiefs, right? So it's just a benefit they get for being who they are. But so, yeah, it's funny, as the season's getting more deeper into the season, I would, for the longest time, I kept saying, oh, once we get into week 7, 8, 9, 10, like, it becomes clearer. And now the way how this season has unfolded, it's like, it's clearer to me who the bad teams are, for sure. I mean, that was pretty clear to me from the beginning, quite honestly, but it's obviously now even more defined. but it's like I don't really know what to do with this basket of teams. I'll become totally honest. That's why I never like rankings, because it's like I don't know what to do with the Vikings, Lions, Ravens, Texans, Packers, 49ers. Like I put them just all in the basket, man. I really, really do. It's like a part of me when I watch this, I'm like, oh, maybe I'll stop doing these higher, like the rankings and stuff. But I know you guys like it, but I personally genuinely struggle with it, because I'm like, the Texans play the Ravens. I have no idea. The Chiefs play the Packers. I have no idea. The Vikings play the Lions. I really don't. I really have no idea. Like it's just, it becomes increasingly messy. Like I know, I feel that the Ravens will play better versus the Chiefs than they did week 1. Like I'm really confident in that, right? I'm confident that the Packers are going to continue to get better. I believe the Texans will continue to get better as the season unfolds. I believe the Bills will be better with the Amari Cooper now, but is that enough for the Bills to beat the Chiefs? Would the Bills be able to now beat the Ravens? I think the Bills would play better than they played against the Ravens last time, so I don't know if it would be a blowout again, right? But like I could see the Ravens blowing out the 49ers like they did last year. I could see the Ravens blowing out the Chiefs if they played again, right? That they were just able to finally get that offense going, and Derrick Henry rushes for 180 yards, right? And Lamar's on one. Like I could see that totally happening. Again, I'm not predicting it or saying it's definitely going to happen, but I see more possibilities ultimately with all these teams now with each week that goes on. That's really what it comes down to. It's like before I kind of have a feeling of who these teams are, but now what it is I just see more possibilities, right? I see the possibilities of the Texans to dominate a game, but also maybe lay an egg. I see the possibility of the Lions to just, oh my God, just show us the greatest offense we've ever seen. And it's like, well, is that good enough to dominate the Chiefs? Could they literally hang 50 on the Chiefs? And that's a great defense. Can the Lions do that? And will the Lions' less than perfect defense be able to not make the Chiefs look like an amazing offense now? Like it's just very, very fascinating for me to see, right? Can the 49ers regain some momentum? They seemingly righted the ship against Seattle. Can they continue that momentum, right? The Cowboys are obviously not a very good team right now. The 49ers should be able to also really put a whooping on the Cowboys. Maybe not exactly how the Lions were able to do it, but it should be closer to the Lions game than to the Cowboys Steelers or the Cowboys Giants game, right? Like that's what I'm looking for from the 49ers. That would make me say, okay, clearly the 49ers are continuing to separate themselves. If they have a close game with the Cowboys, I'm going to be like, I don't know who the 49ers are right now. So yeah, just really exciting stuff, honestly. A little all over the place, but exciting nonetheless. But those are just my thoughts. I'd absolutely love to hear yours. What do you guys all think about Colin's herd hierarchy? What teams would you move around? What teams would you add or take away? Let me know in the comments below. I read every single comment, so whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions, let's get in some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I'd absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of. I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much. See you next time.